No, so yeah, so in my district, there's some amazing things that have played a huge role in American history. One of those is the nuclear power plant Hanford, and it's near Tri-Cities, which is a huge hub. It's the biggest metropolitan area within Central Washington, and it's talking about people that have a lot of skills, high education. It's a place that really has a lot of those types of people in it because of the nuclear power plant. But that's where the nuclear bomb was actually developed, and which is, that's an important and special and just crazy part of American history. But also attached to it, and honestly, just like 5 miles away from my house is the line of the Yakima Training Center, which is one of the largest Army training bases in the country. And I don't know how many square miles it is. It's massive, but they do live training. So you'll be driving and you'll see tanks and you'll see helicopter, you'll see all sorts of stuff happening, and almost everybody that had been deployed to the Middle East and Afghanistan trained right here by my house. But here comes the tinfoil hat thing. So this is just something that's really interesting. So as you know, right? So this past year, this past year, the government finally admitted that unidentified flying objects are real. There is something out there that's flying around. The government did a report on it, and it is no longer being denied, right? So they admit it. They don't know what it is, or it makes you wonder, right? Like the government hasn't really. Right. But what's interesting about that is that in Washington State is on a flight to Yakima, which is basically right where I live. That's where the first flying saucer in 1947 was actually spotted. And that was before Roswell. That was before all of that. It was the first time. And that's where UFO is actually coined. Like over my house is where UFO is coined. And which is another just fascinating part of US history. But it's also interesting that when you talk to experts or you watch documentaries on this sort of thing, they note that they see the most activity of these things around nuclear facilities, whether it's nuclear, aircraft carriers and stuff. And we in Washington State happen to have one of the highest percentage of UFO spottings in the world. And so I actually, that's where the tinfoil hat, look, I'm not going to say alien, because that's what we do need to do though, is we need to figure out what the heck is going on. And I think one of the most important things that this certainly isn't one of the most important things facing our country, but I think it's something we have to pay attention to. Well, who knows? It could be, right? We don't know. But I think what we need
to blame for all this bad stuff.
Blame the aliens. I think what we need to do is, and I put this in my legislative agenda, is we need to remove the stigma of this UFO thing. We need to acknowledge that there is something that is seemingly undefined. And we need to sort of like open the gates of allowing people to document these things without feeling like they're wearing tinfoil hats, because you don't have to be crazy. You just have to see something like this and suddenly, you're one of those people that's trying to keep a secret so people don't think you're crazy. So I actually think that what we need to do is, first of all, we need to support efforts in our military that advance technology to help identify these things. And every time a new radar system is sort of like invented and introduced, it seems like they learn more about them. So that's one area. But the other, I think that we should have a national hotline that allows for US citizens to simply document something when they see it, and then have a panel of experts that yearly do a public report to Congress on this situation, what's been seen, et cetera, et cetera. We just need to make this transparent. Maybe it's just a bunch of weather balloons. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe it's China, maybe it's, who knows?
I think the ability, what America always was part of our history, was to be open to exploration